Hello everyone. The Voice of Philosophy, Dr. An's YouTube Philosophy Classroom, Unit 20, Locke's Understanding of the Innate Ideas and Empiricism. Chapter 1, Locke as the initiator of the modern epistemology. Modern English empiricism originated from John Locke. He emphasized the law of experience concerning the acquirement of knowledge. Like the Western philosophical tradition, he also distinguished knowledge from opinion or belief. Human knowledge is here to be understood as the objective scientific cognition, which refers, for example, to the Newtonian Physics in the same age. He sought the possibility of knowledge in regard to the function of man's understanding. As a forerunner of Immanuel Kant's criticism of pure reason, Locke wanted to clarify the source, certainty, and limit of the human knowledge. However, Locke's fundamental point concerning the theory of knowledge consists in the criticism of innate ideas, whereas Kant's point consisted in the criticism of transcendent ideas, for example, God, free will, and immortality of soul. Locke established empirical ideas as the source of knowledge, whereas Kant saw the possibility of knowledge in the necessary combination of understanding, Verstand, and sensibility, Sinnlichkeit. Therefore, Locke may well be named the initiator of the criticism of human knowledge, that is, that of the modern epistemology. As over once mentioned, the criticism of the innate idea takes up the main part of his book, an essay concerning human understanding, hereafter simply an essay. The term innate idea was already used by Descartes before Locke. According to Descartes, there was three kinds of innate ideas, which consist in what a thing is, what truth is, and what thought is. As I see it, my understanding of what a thing is, what truth is, and what thought is derives purely from my own nature, which means that it is innate. Descartes' Meditation on the First Philosophy. On the basis of the paragraph, I interpret Descartes' innate idea as the oneness and truth, and oneness can be turned into the term substance. In this regard, the concept of the innate idea by Descartes has no specifically philosophical meaning of the word, which can be returned to the ousia, substance, by Aristotle. The ousia, the substance, the essence, or the oneness is the very starting point of all the science, including philosophy. The concept of innate idea might be very widely applied in the Western society after the Cartesian philosophy. Locke's thoroughgoing objection to the innate idea results especially from the contemporary prevalence of that term. James Lode, who published a discourse concerning the nature of man, made impressive use of the term innate notions in the realm of the ethics and religion. Locke admired him as the ingenious author. Picture, Discourse Concerning Human Nature by John Lode. According to Lode, imprinted, impressed notions are said to exist before the soul employs them actually. The innate notions were at that time said to make virtue and moral possible. Virtue and ethics originate from the innate ideas, that is, on the soul imprinted, impressed notions. The principle of justice or golden rule were also thought of as the innate notions to which Locke strongly objected. A problematic of Locke's notion of innate virtues resulting in the ethical absolutism, which counted Western Christian value as universal value of the mankind. Locke was opposed to absolute dogmatic standpoint of value. Locke's misunderstanding of the principle of identity, hereafter simply Pi, and the principle of non-contradictions, hereafter simply P and C. We can nowadays give easily assent to Locke's objection to the innate ideas of the moral and the religion. Innate ideas about the moral and the religion lead to the moral and the religious absolutism. The ethical and cultural absolutism are nowadays hard to accept. Today's cultural relativism is normal. In addition to the criticism of the moral innate ideas, Locke criticized ideas which at that time were too admitted as innate ideas, logical rules as PI and PNC, and mathematical rules as 2 plus 3 equals 5, or the sum of all internal angles of the triangle is always equal to 180 degrees. The instances of mathematics are not here discussed. There are some difficulty of proving his denial of logical principles to which PI and PNC belong. This use of the innate idea or innate proposition is rather called as a priori idea or a priori proposition in the way of Kant. The term a priori means by Kant independent of all experience or valid without experience. Therefore, a priori knowledge includes the content of the formal logics and mathematics in which the truth value of the proposition depends not on the content but on the form of the proposition. For example, the argument using deductive reasoning is also determined as a priori argument. All men are immortal, first premise. Socrates is a man, second premise. Therefore, Socrates is immortal, conclusion. Syllogism is deductive reasoning whose validity rests on the form, not on the content. Locke did not recognize fully the relationship between innate. Locke mentioned two kinds of so-called principle logics, that is PI and PNC. What it is, and it is impossible for the same thing to be and not to be, an essay. Locke didn't count the laws of formal logic as a priori by Kant or innate by him. He said that without learning, a man could not know PI and PNC. These laws must be universally assented, which, however, according to Locke, cannot prove the innateness of the laws. They are not on mind naturally imprinted because they are not known to children, idiots, an essay. Then we should survey the meaning of the laws of logic, that is PI and PNC. In my opinion, the propositional theoretical knowledge of PI and PNC is actually acquired through learning. However, men are actually using these principles even without learning, namely without theoretical knowledge of PI and PNC. Man is already used to these principles. Men are able to apply these laws unconsciously. These principles are to be considered as implicitly known because even the children use these laws without conscious awareness of it. When a child says, "It is bread," he doesn't say at the same time, "It is not bread." When he breaks the rule, he will be criticized. These laws are not only the laws of the thought, but also that of being. Moreover, these principles are laws of ordinary language. When a man breaks these rules, he breaks the social norm. They are rules of ordinary language and the life world. In this respect, Locke made a great mistake. Even a primitive man or helpless idiot must obey these rules. That is, even if a child has not yet learned and known the propositional knowledge about the law of non-contradiction, he can use it actually in ordinary life. Therefore, the concept of the law of non-contradiction is thought of as the scientific conceptualization of ordinary language and the thinking of it. The law of non-contradiction is therefore to be considered as the basis of human thinking and act. This is even law of act. Without this law, one cannot drive his purpose, that is, goal-oriented act. These laws are, moreover, principles of the social communication. When a man destroys this rule, he denies himself and others. Chapter 3. Aristotle's law of non-contradiction. In order to clearly understand the circumstances about the laws of logic, we need to memorize the original form of these laws, that is the law of non-contradiction in Aristotle's logical writings. There are two versions of the principle of the non-contradiction in Aristotle's philosophy. The first version of PNC is usually taken to be the main version of the principle, and it runs as follows. It is that the same attribute cannot at the same time belong and not belong to the same subject and in the same respect. The second version is as follows. It is impossible for the same man at the same time to believe the same thing to be and not to be. The first version of PNC is like the over-mentioned example of the child saying, I would like to take another example. This bread is white. In this sentence, white as an attribute belongs to this bread as a subject. When so saying, it is impossible to say this bread is not white. The saying that this bread is white is not compatible with the saying this bread is not white. They are contradictory statements. To say contradictory statements is false. This is the point of PNC by Aristotle. The second PNC is the same as the first version of PNC. Furthermore, the principle of identity is a positive expression of PNC, what is. The principle of identity, what is to be originally returned to the law of being by Parmenides, who asserted the identity of being and thought. From the over-investigated follows the consequence that PI and PNC are both the most certain of all, while Aristotle emphasized only PNC. PI and PNC are not only the rules of thought, namely innate ideas, but also those of being. In this respect, Locke's empiricism is to be revised. Thank you very much for your attention and listening. See you next time.